Hello, hello, and good afternoon. Welcome to another showcase interview. I'm your host, Leslie Gadet, your resident self care coach. I'm on a mission to help busy female entrepreneurs, coaches, and course creators prioritize their self care to support them in life and business so they can wake up with more energy, focus, and intention to tackle their daily activities and serve their clients with confidence. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Krystal Casey, founder of Flight of the Phoenix, a women's empowerment collective. This inspirational leader is a powerhouse with a microphone. Despite enduring unimaginable tragedy, she rose from the ashes and became an international best-selling author, a motivational speaker, and a mom on a mission to break generational cycles of trauma and sexual abuse. Krystal's story is one of strength and resilience, and she uses it to ignite a fire within other mothers, empowering them to reignite their own spark, step into their power, and create a life they truly love living. I cannot wait for you to meet this incredible powerhouse mompreneur because today we're going to be chatting about her life's journey, what she's doing now, where she's going, and also what it means to be a leader. So let's get started. Let me bring on this lovely lady. Krystal, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Leslie.
So excited to have you here. I've been looking forward to this. Uh, Before we get started, I always like to just break the ice with some rapid fire questions. They're, I think, super easy, super chill, nothing too invasive, just something just to break the ice a little bit, and then we can get started. So if you're game, I will start with the first question.
Sounds
So
good. Let's go.
great. Okay, so this one can sometimes stump people, but I think you should. This should be pretty super easy for you. Describe yourself using
Uh-oh.
three.
Three words:
Yes.
strong, resilient, passionate.
Yeah. All of them are amazing, powerful words. As you look back over your past year, what's something that's happened for you that's cause for celebration?
Over the past year, I have so much to celebrate, but I became an international best-selling author, and that's super exciting. That's like, thank you. A dream come true. Literally, a dream come true.
Yeah, that's incredible. What's the name of the book?
The book is Shattering the Stigma of Single Motherhood.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. And we'll make sure that we get the link for that so we can put that in with the show notes for anyone who wants to grab a copy for themselves. Now, what would
Absolutely.
you say? Yeah, because I think this is important, definitely. What would you say has been your greatest accomplishment in your life? I mean, I know you became an international best-selling author, but is there anything else that could be, above, in that area of accomplishments that has
Yeah,
been great for you?
100%. What comes to mind isn't even it's being my daughter's voice. That is my greatest accomplishment.
Yeah. And I think there's no greater, I can just tell you, just like that, I could feel it. There is no greater feeling for a daughter when their mother has their back. And I can tell you that just from personal experience. When I needed my mom to have my back, she did. And it was incredible in a moment where I
Mhm.
felt so vulnerable and she had my back. So I truly, truly can feel that. So thank you for sharing that. What would you say has been your greatest lesson you've learned in your life so far?
To to trust my intuition, to listen to myself, to trust myself, and to love myself.
Yeah, so powerful. Absolutely. And last question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received or something that you may have recently given to someone else?
The best? Hmm. Um, there's a lot. There's been a lot of good advice. I truly believe that nobody exists in this world alone. And so connecting with people, learning from people is an ongoing part of your life journey. And it is critical to your growth, I think, because nobody can operate in a box. That said, the one of the greatest pieces of advice that I have been given by somebody else is to, oddly enough, is from my dad, who I don't have the best relationship with. But he told me to, first of all, never be with anybody because I had to be, but to be with somebody because I wanted to be. And along those lines, that it was important for me to focus on me and my growth in my education, in my career, in my pursuit of my dreams, and that those are the things that can't ever be taken away from you. Your education, your experiences, no matter what happens, no matter, your riches can be gone, your home can be gone, your relationships can be gone, but what you learn, what you go through, who you become, no one can ever take that from you.
Yeah, so, so true. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being gracious to answer these questions. I know sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking if you're not expecting it, but I do like to start it this way,
Sure.
just as a fun way to break the ice. So, a couple of things I'd like to touch on with you are getting to know you, of course, your story, what you're doing today, and how you serve your community, not only on Facebook in your Facebook community, but also what you're doing. You've got something going on with the Supermom organization, which I'm sure your children are extremely proud of their mama for. And ladies, when I say she's a powerhouse, let me just say this woman like blows my mind because she's making things happen all while raising five beautiful children. So this is like a feat like no other. And I'd also like to touch on our connection through the She Rises Studios collective leadership team. So, with that being said, let's just start at the beginning. Tell us who you are, your journey through your life, your experiences from growing up to your goals, what's brought you to where you're at in your life today, and what you're doing with your unique gifts. So, the floor is yours.
Just sum that up in a few little sentences.
Yeah. So just tell us about who you are. Like, because I know we all see each other online as the person we are today, right? But let's talk about the
Mhm.
backstory, how you got to where you are, because we all
Yeah, for
have
sure.
life choices, right? What brings us, and we could have had dreams when we were younger to do something completely different than what we're doing today. So, how you grew up, your life story, a little bit about your background and how you got onto what you're doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am somebody who came from your stereotypical broken home, I guess you can say. My childhood ACEs score, if you're familiar with that, um, the scores or gauges the amount of childhood trauma that you went through, and my score is very high. And I made a pact when I was very young that I was going to break the cycle for my children, that I was not going to repeat the mistakes that those before me in my family had repeated. My parents married very young. Um, there were cycles of abuse. There was a lot of disconnection. Just I hate to say neglect, but I guess that's what it was in a way, emotionally, mentally, even if it wasn't necessarily physical neglect, because we were always taken care of. Like our basics were always met. It was messy, to say the least. But I was bound and determined that when I grew up, I was going to break that cycle. And I was very focused through high school to stay away from anything that might stray me from the path of escape, really. I was bound and determined to leave my home, and I knew in order to do that, what was drilled into my head was school, college, education, like get that education. Nobody in my family yet had gone to school and gone to college and completed. And that was my plan, that was my focus. So I focused on school and I focused on work while everyone else was kind of out being teenagers. And as soon as I graduated, I had two jobs, if not three. I had my own car. I had my own place. I was living on my own, 100% taking care of my own self. Meanwhile, there was a boy that I had met when I was 12 years old. He was my first official date. We went roller skating, I remember. Um, he was my first a lot of things. And we ended up separating because we were on different paths, right? We grew up totally different, and he was kind of enjoying his life and doing his thing, and I was very focused on where I was going and doing my thing. But we did reconnect when I was about 23, 24, somewhere in there. And very quickly after that, we were married. And quickly after that, we started having babies. And in 11 years, we had 5 children. And the relationship was confusing. It was one where I knew he loved me. Everybody knew he loved me. We were, in some ways, the picture perfect family. Um, but in other ways, there was there were always certain things that felt off. And I would always explain them away or allow him to explain them away or rationalize with myself or just turn a blind eye altogether. Um, and then one day I was getting ready for work. I owned a little yoga studio in town, and I was getting ready to go teach classes. And my husband was outside in the driveway grilling chicken. And I got a phone call. And in that phone call, I discovered that he had been sexually abusing my oldest daughter for a number of years. And the conversation wasn't even over before I was hanging up and gathering up my kids and making an excuse to leave and reporting him to authorities. And within 6 weeks, there was a whirlwind of crazy events I talk more about in the book. But ultimately, we lost him, and I became a widow, and I'm now raising 5 children, like you said. We celebrated my youngest child's first birthday the same week of his funeral. Um, and so many things came up in his death, with his death. But the biggest thing for me is that I set that example for my kids. I spoke up for them. And showed them that they came first and that I love them unconditionally. Um, and since then, I have stepped into speaking up against childhood sexual abuse across the board. I feel like one of the things I didn't do that I could have done differently as a younger parent, and I know it's not my fault. I'm in no way blaming myself or accepting, you know, responsibility in that way for this. But I didn't tell my kids. I tried to shelter them. I didn't speak about my abuse. I didn't speak about, we spoke about you know, not keeping secrets, and we talked about our bodies are ourselves and privacy, and I thought I was covering all of the things. But the one thing I was not, the one place I was not going was what had happened to me. I did not speak up about it, or how I had carried it with me for years, and how even as I was having children, I was still working through the trauma that I had gone through as a child. And I feel like if I had, things may have gone different. Regardless, I am now. And I'm showing her that it's okay to step up. And in doing so, I'm connecting with so many women who are telling me heartbreaking stories about how they needed their mother and she wasn't there, or whoever that figure was. For me, it wasn't my mother, but I did disclose to a female family member and it was brushed aside. So that's what I do now through my writing, through my speaking, through my Facebook community, through live events, through any means I possibly can. I am sharing this message and I am working to break the cycles of generational trauma and abuse, and to empower other moms to step into their power and to use their voice and to listen to their children. We need to speak about this stuff. The darkness, the quietness, it only helps the abuser and hurts the victims, which are our children. So that's who I am. That's what I do. And that's why I do it.
And I absolutely love your story. In fact, I'm trying to hold it back because, you know, I spoke a moment ago about how my mom, I felt like she had my back in that one moment that I could remember when I needed her. But there was that moment where I had my own trauma of growing up. I had my eldest brother was molesting me for quite a long time. And I come to find out, through my conversations, that my mother had had her own past. She also came from a generation where, one, children were seen and not heard. Two, I don't even know if she would have felt confident enough or brave enough to share her truth around her own, being molested by someone that she knew that knew her family. And so I've been able to, over my own healing, I've done a lot of healing through talking with other people, getting coached around it. That's why self care and self love and all of that is really so close to my heart, based upon my experiences in life, because I want to be able to empower other women to be able to speak their truth. I had, my voice was taken away. My eldest brother, I ended up did speak to him a few times before he recently passed this past December.
Mm.
He had stage 4, um, some kind of cancer. I can't remember exactly, but I got to speak to him, and it felt really good. Like, I felt like I could release him and myself from this pain.
Mm.
Although I felt like I had already released it, I really felt like in my conversations with him that it gave him some kind of, I guess, release, because he carried that shame with him his whole life. And based
Mm.
on our conversations, he also had trauma that was not discussed, that was never talked about. And a lot of the time, people who, they can go one of two ways.
Yep.
They can become an abuser based on being abused, or they, they take that and they try to advocate for it not to ever happen again. So
$100%.
I truly, truly love the fact that you were able to share this and, stand up for what was right for your children, to show them, not just, not just your daughter, but, your sons as well, to see that this is what you're supposed to do. This is the way that you're supposed to respond. It's not right for these things to go on. And showing them that they can have their voice if something is wrong, to speak their truth, because you showed them that mommy is not ever going to turn her back if you come to me with something, especially like that. So I love the fact that you
Yeah.
did that. So thank you so much, because I think that really that speaks volumes. You know, it's not easy being a mom and being able to, and being with someone who you spent that much time with, um, not knowing this secret was part of your life until it was revealed, it came to the light, and having in that moment to make a choice. Do I break the family apart, and raise these children on my own? Do I stay and try to figure out how to heal this, and what message does that send? And so, you know, I think it's really difficult to be a mom in that position. So I
See,
just wanted to say,
and I disagree.
mm-hmm,
No way that I was going to allow it to continue or to allow it to be justified or to
mm-hmm,
allow it to go without consequences or without him being held accountable for his choices and his actions. It was absolutely not a hard decision for me.
yeah. And I think that's amazing, because some people, like I said, some people would question, and yet you didn't hesitate. And so that's why I'm just saying that's to me amazing, because especially
And there
your daughter
was,
is young still.
yeah, there were circumstances that it was, I mean, I don't feel that children make this stuff up.
Mm-hmm,
And when children are giving you specific details that children should not know,
mm-hmm,
very adult details, there was no doubt in my mind, none whatsoever, even though there's no way I'd have ever been with him if there was even a question that he would have been capable of it.
right,
Like none whatsoever. And the instant I found out, I was out the door.
right.
But it absolutely blows my mind that it is a question for people. I understand that it's difficult. I had no idea where I was going to go. I had no, like, very little family support in the area. I mean, I get it, but it
Mm-hmm,
was still, I would rather be living, you know, I wasn't going to be on the streets, but in a shelter or in a friend's home or anywhere else than to justify this behavior, to allow the behavior, or to send that message to my daughter that he was more important. His wants were more important than her being.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and it leads me into like what you're doing today, because I think what you're doing today, especially, you've got this amazing new, program that you are putting together with multiple women around all different areas, to help other women heal. And so I want you to, I don't know if you can speak to that now, if you'd like to speak to that now a little bit, as to what you're doing, because I really
Yeah,
think it's
I'm super
important.
excited. I'm super excited. So, we're creating a course. It's called From Stuck to Unstoppable, Rising from the Ashes Even When You Feel Dead Inside. And this stems from where I was after losing him and after going through survival mode and falling into a new life. And once I had to do that, I realized I had no idea what I wanted anymore. My drive was gone, my vision was gone, my motivation was gone. Did it matter if I took care of myself? As long as I was showing up and the kids were getting through the day every day, like, I'm doing my job, right? Um and of course, naturally, I went through that for a while. I grieved. I had so many things going on at the same time as trying to process all of the things at the same time as trying to handle all of the logistics and the estate and the funeral and just all of the stuff. And Eventually, I got to this point to where my new normal was me going through the motions, to where I was showing up, but I wasn't really there. I wasn't connected. I wasn't engaged. I surely wasn't fun. Um, I would giggle, I would laugh, I would find some moments, but they were sparse, you know? And I eventually realized that it was affecting my kids, and it was going to continue to affect my kids in the way that I wasn't showing up for them. And as the mom, I set the tone for what their childhood is like. Whether or not we stay at home and stare at screens all day, or we go out on a magical adventure to the park, it's up to me to create that magic and to create a childhood that they can look back on. Now, I can't always stop the crap from coming. It's going to come. I can't always stop them from getting hurt, but I can build them up in such a way that they're resilient and they're strong and they're able to come back because they take care of themselves and they're connected and they live in their vision and they have support and all of the steps that we go through in the course. And that's where this course has come from. So it is designed to help women who are in that spot, moms especially, to discover, first of all, where in their lives that they are stuck. Is it in their self-care, their nutrition, their physical habits, their mental habits? Is it their parenting? Is it in the bedroom? Is it in the career? There are all sorts of different aspects of our lives that we get to reignite the spark in. And that's what the course is all about. It's about bringing us back to life so that we're not missing out on our kids, which, by the way, 18 years, like nothing. I'm realizing I've only got 6 left with my son, and I'm like, 6? My baby is almost 6. Like, that's crazy. So I'm missing out on that, right? When I'm just going through the motions and kind of there, like before I know it, they're grown right before my eyes. And like I said, they're missing out on me. And that's going to affect the kind of parent they become down the road and how they parent their children and so on and so forth. So the way for me to break the generations of cycles is to be the example. It starts with me. It starts with you. It starts with moms being who we want our children to be, because children don't do as they're told, right? They do as they see. They're watching us and they're doing what we're doing. So it starts by being that example. And so through the course, you get to shine the light on where you're stuck. You get to find support and you are guided.
Are you still there, Krystal? And we're just waiting for Krystal to come back. And hopefully it's not me that's frozen. But yeah, I think that Krystal is frozen. So okay. Uh, so she's going to come back. She just got kicked out. So yeah, incredible story that Krystal has been sharing. I think it really, when you think about being a mom, now I'm not a mom, but I am a daughter. And so I understand the dynamics of parent child, right? And I just love the fact that she's creating this amazing opportunity for women in all different areas of life to be able to like get poured into, whether, like she said, through self-care or mindset, or if it's maybe it's romantic, or it's business, whatever that looks like. I think that is a really incredible thing that she's put together. So excited that she has put this together. I did want to be able to catch her for one more thing So hopefully she's able to get back on, because I really believe like this is something that I found that she had posted earlier today, which was incredible, that I wanted to be able to share with you. So hopefully we can get Krystal back on. But if not, I'll make sure that all the show notes are have all of her links, because this program of hers is launching very soon. I'm excited that I get to be a part of it and contribute. So I will be contributing to this new and amazing program. And I'll be talking around self care, of course, because that's my jam. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart, extremely important. And I truly believe that self care is the lifeblood to our success in life and business. So that's definitely important to me. So it doesn't look like Krystal's going to come back on, but I'm going to make sure, like I said, to make if I'll try to have Krystal back after all said and done with the launch, and we can share like how that's going. And let me just see, she's just messaging me. So let's see, she lost internet. Okay, not to worry. Okay, so definitely what we're going to do is I'm going to see if I can get her back on, because there's a little bit more that I wanted to cover with her. But the gist of it is she's an incredible woman. Her children are extremely important to her. And it's so important because she's right. Our children are watching us. Like I said, I'm not a mom, but I understand that. I've heard this said to me from people that I've talked to, women that I've talked to, that they are afraid their children are watching them, and some of their things that they do, some of the things that they say are being emulated by their children. So it is really important to lead by example, and to be that influence that guides them, so that they have great lives, so that they live their lives from a place where they feel empowered to speak their truth, to have their voice, to go after their goals and their dreams, and to support each other. And that's important. So again, I am so happy that at least we got to hear a lot of the story of Krystal. She's a brand new. We've only known each other a few short months, but she's with me in the She Rises Studios collective leadership community. We are part of a team of incredible women who are going to be inspiring and empowering women all over the world. And we are getting ready to have a summit coming up in 3 weeks, or actually a little less than 3 weeks, in Miami. So, again, it was lovely having Krystal on today. I'm sorry that she lost her internet. We couldn't finish our conversation, but I promise to have her back on again. Until then, I hope that you all have an amazing day. Remember, self care is not just about mani pedis, massages, um, about getting, buying that designer bag, about, just going out with friends and eating a fancy meal. It's not just about things like that. It's also essential to make sure that you look after yourself in taking daily breaks, so that you allow your mind to calm, and your nervous system to regulate, to allow yourself away from, as well as social media. So taking a break from doing one thing, one screen, does not mean moving to another screen. And that includes not moving to your cell phone and answering text messages or emails, or looking at Instagram or any of that. It means taking an actual mental break, and a stimulus break away from the mind, allowing it to re-energize and recharge. So uh, the mental breaks, maybe asking for help or delegating. Our time is precious. So don't try to do everything alone. Make sure that you take care of you, because you're the only you have. And when you take really good care of yourself, you get the best of you, and so does everyone and everything else in your life. So I just wanted to be able to remind you, ask for help, delegate, take mental breaks, learn to set and keep boundaries around your time. That's important. Taking care of you the best that you can, and you will have a really beautiful, successful life, personally and in business. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.